Let's go over to Riverside, California. John, welcome to the Line of Fire.
Hi, how's it going, Dr. Brown? I have a two-part question, a portion of scripture in the book of Numbers. But I just want to take a brief moment to say thank you. Your ministry has been very instrumental in my life personally. And I don't want to sound like I'm promoting my own website or anything, but you indirectly encouraged me to develop a conservative platform online. And as a father, I know how important it is to keep the next generation engaged online with our political discourse. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm promoting it, but just thank you for your motivation and encouragement. To regard to my question, though.
Well, hang on for a second. Yeah, hang on.
Sure.
Glad to be of encouragement. But since you didn't mention the website, I'll ask you to. What is the website?
Oh, at conservativescorner.com.
Okay, great. Well, good. Glad that we played a role in helping you to do that. Yes, sir. Okay, as to your question. Yeah, sure.
Sure. In the book of Numbers, chapter 8, specifically verse 11, 16, and 18. In verse 11, if you want to reference it, what is the practical application of the wave offering there? And in verses 16 and 18, what is, or is there a bigger implication for saying that the Levitical priests were the firstborn, they were separated, etc., or is it just the plain reading that's there? Is there a bigger context to those verses?
Yeah, let me point out a few things that are fascinating here in Numbers, the 8th chapter. The first is God required the firstborn male from the womb to be sacrificed to him. So he required that for every animal, right? So the firstborn male calf would be sacrificed, etc. That would be giving the first fruits to the Lord. He required that from the children of Israel as well, but not to be sacrificed, rather to be dedicated to him. The Levites took that place, right? So we understand that rather than the firstborn male in every family being consecrated to separation before the Lord, in that sense sacrificing him, given over to him completely, instead the Levites took that place. And that's what is said here. I've given the Levites as a gift.
Is there something particular as to why the Levites, I guess, is a bigger question, or is it just
right?
God's
yeah, so that would go.
Make them?
That goes back to Exodus, the 32nd chapter, exactly. That when the children of Israel were guilty of idolatry when Moses was on Mount Sinai, and when he came down from Mount Sinai, he said, "Who is on the Lord's side?" And the Levites joined with him, because God's intent, according to Exodus 19, was that the whole nation would be a priestly nation, right? That the whole nation would serve him in a priestly way. When Israel sinned, the Levites distinguished themselves with their zeal, hence they got singled out. And that's how that happened. Now, it was, of course, Moses and Aaron's own tribe, but here's what's significant in the 8th chapter here. I wanted to explain the larger question
by all means.
Yeah, for others. But to be specific here, this is a fascinating passage, and I address it in volume 2 of my series on answering Jewish objections to Jesus. That look at what happens here, okay? Verse 10, when you bring the Levites before the Lord, the people of Israel shall lay their hands on the Levites. And Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord as a wave offering for the people of Israel, that they may do the service of the Lord. Then the Levites shall lay their hands on the heads of the bulls, and you shall offer the one for sin offering, the other for burnt offering to the Lord, to make atonement for the Levites. So what happens is that the Levites bear the weight, again, the sin of the people, the guilt of the people, right? They now bear that. They are the ones, the protectors of the sanctuary. So if there's judgment or wrath incurred, it would theoretically fall on them. So the children of Israel lay their hands on the Levites, and then the Levites lay their hands on the animals, and the animals are actually sacrificed, and the Levites given over to the Lord. But it shows you this whole concept of the priests, the Levitical priests, acting as substitutes, the Levites acting as substitutes. And it points to the Messiah as our substitute, taking our place. So it's really an extraordinary passage, the exact same way that the Levites lay their hands on the animals. Now the animals are sacrificed to the Lord. The people lay their hands on the Levites, And then the Levites are given metaphorically as a wave offering. They're not physically lifted up and waved before the Lord, but they're given as a wave offering. So their consecration takes the place of the people, and then the animal sacrifice takes their place. So it's really quite fascinating. It's a great example of priests functioning in a substitutionary way.
Yeah, well, that's why I called. Thank you so much for that. I will be replaying this and re-examining it, but I do appreciate that and for your ministry. May the Lord bless you, Dr. Brown.
Well, thank you, sir. If you go to Volume 2 of my series, Answering Jewish Objections to Jesus, if you have that, I believe it's answer 3.15, and you'll see some amazing quotes there from Jacob Milgrom in his commentary on Numbers. And he explains the role of the Levites here. And then if you go to the end of the book of Numbers, chapter 35, when the high priest dies, if you had accidentally killed someone and had fled to a city of refuge, you had to stay there the rest of your life. Or when the high priest died, you'd be released. You say, how could that be? Because bloodshed pollutes the land, and there's no atonement for blood except, no payment for blood is acceptable except the blood of the one who shed it. What happens if you accidentally kill someone? You're working next to him, the axe head flies off the axe and kills your friend. Well, legally you can be put to death because it's bloodshed, but it's unintentional. So you flee to the city of refuge. You stay there the rest of your life, or until the high priest dies. Why? Because the high priest's death takes the place of the others that were accidentally killed. And rabbinic literature asked the question, the Talmud asked the question, what atoned? Was it the time that the unintentional manslayer spent in the city of refuge? Is that what brought atonement? No, it's the death of the high priest that atoned. Exactly. And it is the death of Yeshua, Jesus, our high priest, that ultimately atones. And Numbers 8 points in that direction as well, the substitutionary ministry of the Levitical priests. Hey, John, thank you for the call. And thanks for launching your conservativescorner.com website. We'll be right back. Shake the